DiPietro has always claimed Ayla was abducted, but now the baby's mother, Trista, is suing him for wrongful death.
Justin, please. Justin, how could you do this to Ayla?
Welcome or welcome back, and thanks for being here. I'm Cassie, and this is A Wicked World. The story I have for you today is a complicated one about a little girl who allegedly disappeared in the middle of the night. And even though she has never been found, evidence has shown that she is more than likely no longer alive. This is the story of Ayla Reynolds. Ayla Reynolds was born on April 4th, 2010 in Waterville, Maine, to her mother, Trista Reynolds, and her father, Justin DiPietro. Ayla was said to be a very happy and smiley little girl who loved dancing and singing, her favorite song being Moves Like Jagger by Maroon 5. She loved being the center of attention, was funny, and just full of life. Ayla additionally had a brother who was 11 months younger than her. Her parents, Justin and Trista, had known each other for most of their lives, but only had a brief romance in the summer of 2009 that had resulted in the birth of Ayla. At first, Justin did not believe that the little girl was his, but after taking a paternity test in July of 2010, it was confirmed that Ayla was indeed his daughter. Then, beginning in December of that year, he was ordered to start paying child support. Now, according to Trista, Justin wanted nothing to do with his daughter, even after he found out that she was his. It was his own mother, Phoebe DiPietro, who had pushed him to have a relationship with Ayla. Though there was no court-approved child custody agreement in place, the arrangement was that Trista had primary custody of Ayla at her home in Portland. In fact, it wasn't even until mid-2011 when Ayla was 1 that Justin started to have any visits with her. The father lived an hour and a half away in Waterville, and his visits would be brief, never having any overnights. Up until October of 2011, Justin had only seen Ayla about 5 to 10 times. On October 13th, 2011, Trista would have an encounter with Child Protective Services, who told her that if she didn't get clean, she would lose her children. The mother was addicted to heroin, and at this time, she was living with her fiancé and had given birth to another child, Raymond, so she had both Raymond and Ayla in her care. The same day as Trista was told that she would lose her kids if she didn't get help, she checked herself into a rehabilitation program that was in Lewiston, Maine, as she was determined not to lose her kids. In the meantime, she entrusted her children's care to her mother, Becca, and her sister, Jessica. But only days into Trista's treatment, Phoebe, Justin's mother, who worked for the state of Maine, got wind that Ayla was staying with Jessica, and so she began to push her son to get custody. To assist in this process, Phoebe herself called up CPS. And since Justin was Ayla's father, Phoebe was able to get permission to take Ayla from Jessica. Now, Justin and his mother didn't know where Jessica lived, so CPS had provided her address to police, who were then to escort them to her house. Phoebe and Justin waited in the car while Officer Charles Weaver went to the door. When he knocked, Jessica answered, and she begged him not to take Ayla. She said that Ayla's father was abusive and had beaten the child in the past, and told the officer that she would not give her up willingly. At the time, the little girl had been laughing, playing, and trying to make conversation with the police officer. Jessica told Officer Weaver to pay attention to how the little girl's demeanor changed when he went and got Justin. So we had Justin go to the door, and upon seeing her father, the little girl immediately broke down into tears, and she attempted to flee the kitchen. Officer Weaver, however, picked the child up and handed her over to Justin as she was continuing to cry uncontrollably. She was kicking and screaming and even tried to bite Officer Weaver as he was handing her to Justin. Jessica said that it was pretty clear that Ayla was terrified of her father. The officer responded by saying that if he had his way, he would not make Ayla go with Justin. According to the Reynolds family, a social worker named Karen Small was the one who was responsible of the transfer of Ayla from Jessica to Justin. Her involvement is rather suspicious too, because it's said that she's either Phoebe's friend or Phoebe's cousin. Prior to giving Ayla back to Justin, Child Services had never done a home visit. They hadn't investigated who lived in the home, or if Ayla would even be safe living in the residence. Since there was no legal custody agreement between Ayla's parents, the rationale of the CPS supervisor was that since Justin was her father, the father trumps the aunt any day. So Justin took Ayla with him to Waterville, where he'd recently moved back to his mother Phoebe's home, located on Violet Ave. In the house also lived Justin's sister Alicia, her daughter Gabriella, who was close in age to Ayla, Justin's girlfriend at the time, Courtney Roberts, and her child. In this house, Justin lived in the partially finished basement, which was one large room, while the rest of the family lived upstairs. Now, 8 days into Trista's treatment program, CPS conducted a family team meeting in order to discuss Ayla's placement. Present were 3 CPS representatives, 2 doctors, Trista's sister Jessica, her attorney, and Trista. Justin called in by phone. By the end of this meeting, there was an agreement as to what should happen. Ayla was to be returned to her mother on October 22nd at the end of Trista's program. Also agreed upon was that Justin would bring Ayla to the treatment facility where her mother was staying on October 21st so she could visit. But neither of these things would end up happening, and Justin would keep Ayla from seeing Trista. In the weeks that followed, Trista repeatedly called CPS, asking for help enforcing the agreement. She wanted Ayla back as promised, but couldn't seem to get anywhere with Child Services. Eventually, she and Justin came to a temporary agreement that he would keep Ayla and she would continue to get to visit with her. However, the mother still had concerns about Justin's parenting. This was because Ayla had started to show up with unexplained bruises. One time, she had an injury to her leg, and when Trista asked Justin what had happened, he said that there had been an incident at the ball pit at a nearby Chuck E. Cheese. But Trista knew that there was no ball pit at this Chuck E. Cheese. Then, on November 12th, Ayla would receive a major injury while in her father's care. She had been brought to the emergency room, where an x-ray determined that she had a broken bone in her upper arm and elbow joint. Justin would inform the doctor that the accident had happened the day before. He said that it had been raining, and he had Ayla in one arm and groceries in another. He'd been on the porch when he suddenly slipped and fell on top of Ayla, hurting her. Now, although she had cried, Justin said he didn't think the injury was that bad. It wasn't until the next day that someone noticed her arm was rather swollen, and they decided to take her to the emergency room. The little girl's arm would end up being put into a cast. In the meantime, Trista and Justin continued to argue about custody, visitation, and simply just talking to Ayla over the phone. This was because every time Trista tried to call to speak with her, Justin would have some sort of excuse as to why she couldn't talk. She was either playing or sleeping, or one time at the beginning of December, Justin said that she was watching the movie Home Alone, so couldn't come to the phone. After Trista wasn't able to speak with Ayla for a week, on December 15th, she decided to file paperwork with the court to begin the legal process of obtaining full custody of her daughter. Justin was said to be unaware of this. Trista would then ask Justin if she could see her daughter on December 17th. She told him that she would pick her up on her way back from visiting her fiancé, who was being held at the Down East Correctional Facility in Machiasport. But Justin refused. Then, that very morning that Trista had hoped to see her daughter Ayla, December 17th at 8:49 a.m., Justin called authorities and told them that Ayla was missing. According to him, she had been put to bed at 8 p.m. the night prior. Around 10 p.m., his sister Alicia had gone in and checked on her. But when he went into Ayla's room that morning, she was nowhere to be found. The little girl had been wearing green polka dot pajamas with Daddy's Princess written across them, and she had a soft cast on her left arm. When police arrived at the home, they searched for any sign of a break-in, but found that there was none. Waterville police and firefighters would continue to search the DiPietro home, as well as their neighborhood, by foot and air. Search dogs were also brought in to comb the neighborhood, but found no scent to follow and no sign of Ayla. The thing is, when authorities had first arrived at the home on Violet Ave, Justin had barricaded himself into a bathroom and refused to speak to them about his daughter's disappearance. Trista, on the other hand, who had been on her way to visit her fiancé, was notified that her daughter was missing and immediately made a detour to Waterville to go speak with authorities. She would then be questioned by police for close to 2 hours. And during this time, she would tell them that the last time she had spoken to her daughter was 9 days prior, on December 8th. The little girl had also been scheduled for a follow-up doctor's appointment in regards to her broken elbow on December 12th. However, Justin never showed up. Then, between the 8th and 17th, Trista told authorities that every time she had tried to speak to Ayla on the phone, Justin had an excuse. So, how long had Ayla really been missing for? Trista would also say that the fact that no one had checked on Ayla since 10 p.m. the night prior seemed rather suspicious because Ayla still did not sleep through the night. The mother claimed that Ayla would normally get up once or twice to have a diaper change or a bottle. So the notion that nobody had checked on her until 8 o'clock the next morning when they discovered she was gone seemed highly unlikely. Now Trista and her family appropriately went into full-blown panic mode.
Come and face me like a man, Justin, and tell me where my granddaughter is. You want to see someone pissed off now? Look at me, Justin. Honestly. Look at me tonight when you're on TV. And you want to see somebody upset? I'm her papa. I am her papa. I am her blood. You understand? You have taken something from me.
But Justin and his family, on the other hand, went in hiding and stayed away from all press and media, at least in the beginning. They would later say that they had been told by authorities to do just this, and they actually believed that Trista was hiding Ayla. The search for Ayla Reynolds would turn out to be the biggest criminal investigation in Maine's history, and the third largest search for a missing child in the state's history. Local businesses would end up coming together and offering a $30,000 reward to anyone who had a tip that led to the little girl's recovery. Eventually, FBI agents, police dogs, neighbors, and other volunteers joined in the house-to-house and neighborhood search for 20-month-old Ayla. Authorities' search not only included a nearby creek, but also Kennebec River, Quarry Park, and a few specific dumpsters throughout Waterville that were behind a fitness center, a nightclub, and also a Comfort Inn hotel, but they found nothing. Police additionally interviewed Justin, his sister Alicia DiPietro, and Justin's girlfriend at the time, Courtney Roberts, all of whom were in the house the night that Ayla disappeared. As the search for the little girl continued, police would seize the DiPietro home, forcing the residents to now stay in a nearby hotel. Then authorities would impound 2 vehicles, one belonging to Justin and one belonging to his girlfriend Courtney. The news of the missing toddler had spread like wildfire, and within less than a week, there were thousands of media outlets reporting on Ayla's case. National shows like Nancy Grace, America's Most Wanted, and CNN news programs all aired video segments about it. Phoebe DePietro, Justin's mom, would go on Nancy Grace, and she would tell her that she had been home that night as well, but didn't hear anything. She also tried to dispel rumors that there'd been a party at the house the night that Ayla had gone missing. Later, however, she recanted this statement and said that she actually was not home on the night that Ayla disappeared. She admitted that she had lied in order to protect her son Justin, but had actually been staying with a friend in Augusta, Maine, about 30 minutes away. Now, everyone across the nation wanted to know what had happened to 20-month-old Ayla Reynolds, but her father Justin was not speaking publicly. Finally, on the 4th day of her disappearance, he would issue a statement through the Waterville Police Department in which he said that he had no idea what had happened to his daughter, and he and his family had relinquished every piece of information they could to police.
Father of missing toddler Ayla Reynolds finally speaks to the local media. Today, Justin DiPietro was urged to give as many interviews as possible in an effort to keep the story about his young daughter out there. Jim Keithley joins us now with more on the interview and the organization that actually convinced him to break his silence. Jim?
Well, Tracy, Justin DiPietro says he doesn't care what people might be thinking or saying about him right now. His main focus is to find his daughter. DiPietro recently sought the help of a missing children's organization based in Texas. His caseworker told him to start talking to keep the story in the public eye, and today he did.
Like I've said, I got nothing to hide. So
from his home in Waterville, Justin DiPietro speaks over the phone with Dawn Davis, a caseworker at the Laura Recovery Center. Davis encouraging DiPietro to do as many interviews as possible to keep Ayla's story top of mind. He says he's cooperating with police, and the public shouldn't read anything into the fact that he hasn't been out in front of the camera.
If there was something solid that I knew, I would be sharing that. But again, I cannot go out there and speculate, and which is what a lot of people have done. She is out there, and I don't want for 1 second for my daughter to ever think that I wasn't doing everything that I could to get her home. And people can sit back and because I'm not on camera saying the things that I'm doing to help get her home, and they don't know what I'm doing.
A neighbor would come forward and tell police that they had heard a lot of commotion coming from the DiPietro home early that morning between 3 and 3:30. It was enough to cause his dog to begin barking, which woke him up. And when he looked out the window, he saw a car running in the neighbor's driveway, the driveway of Phoebe DiPietro's home. On January 28, 2012, a Balloons and Bubbles prayer vigil was held for little Ayla. That very same day, investigators announced that Ayla's blood had been found inside the DiPietro home, describing the amount as more than what would have come from just a small cut, but they refused to give any further details. By this point, authorities had some serious suspicions about the 3 adults who had been in the home that night: Justin, Alicia, and Courtney. They did not believe their version of events, that someone had just snuck into the home in the middle of the night and taken Ayla, but nobody had seen or heard anything. Making them look even more suspicious, the DiPietros would stop speaking with authorities come February, after they said that they weren't having their questions answered. Then in May of 2012, some devastating news came from police when they made the announcement that they no longer believed Ayla was alive.
Based on everything we know, of the thousands of hours of investigation, the 1,127 leads that have come in and have been received and acted on, the searches, the dives, and the evidence gathered at this point, we think it is highly unlikely that Ayla Reynolds will be found alive. Nothing.
Watching the news conference from their living room in Portland, Ayla's mother, grandparents, and uncle burst into tears.
I think the news that I just found out, I would never want any parent to find out. I think my worst nightmare has really come true. And what hurts the most is I don't even know where she's at.
Police also notified the child's father, Justin DiPietro.
Justin was also thankful for the information. His reaction was no reaction.
It wouldn't end up being until January of 2013 that police revealed exactly how much blood and where this blood had been found inside the house. Though apparently Justin's family had been told back in November of 2012 by an investigator that more than a cup worth of Ayla's blood had been found in the house, which is a very large amount of blood, especially for a child Ayla's age. A cup is 8 ounces, which is approximately 25% of all the blood that she would have in her body. Police discovered that the little girl's pink slippers, which had been in her room, had dried blood spots on them. Her baby doll, which had been found in her bed, also had blood smears on its face and arms. Almost like little Ayla had wiped the doll on her bloodied face. Additionally, a silver dollar-sized bloodstain was found on a living room couch, and luminol detected spatter next to it. Police also found Ayla's blood on the left shoulder strap of her car seat, as well as dried vomit near the car seat. Some of this blood had been detected with luminol, while other areas were so large that they were visible to the naked eye. And that wasn't all the blood that they found belonging to Ayla. The majority of the blood that they found was located in the basement where Justin lived. Authorities found that his TV had blood spatter on the side, and there was some on the floor as well as the wall and a cord of a fan. They found a blue plastic tote with bloody sheets inside, that looked like they had been used to clean up Ayla's blood. Blood was additionally found on a wood pallet in the basement, and all the spatter had been found to be at Ayla's height. Sneakers belonging to Justin were discovered to have blood drops inside, as well as on the tongue. Then there was the fist-sized blood stain that was found on Justin's mattress. The bed had also what appeared to be a vomit stain on it. Investigators determined that some of the spray patterns of blood that they had found throughout the house were likely from Ayla coughing up blood, suggesting that her injuries were both internal and external. Police would show pictures of the blood evidence they had found to Trista, which left the mother absolutely devastated, as well as sure that her daughter had been murdered. According to Trista, it literally looked like a murder scene to me. I think just seeing her blood makes me wonder how much she suffered. Law enforcement additionally informed her that they believed that Ayla had been wrapped in a blanket, put into a bag, then removed from the home. When this same blood evidence that had completely freaked Trista out had been shown to Justin and his family months prior, they had no reaction. Justin's girlfriend at the time, Courtney Reynolds, who said that she had slept in the basement the night that Ayla disappeared, refused to even look at the images. And just a side note, Courtney's son, who was staying there the night that Ayla disappeared as well, had been sleeping in the basement with Justin and his mother Courtney, while Ayla had been sleeping upstairs. Also, according to the family, Alicia DiPietro's child usually slept in the same room as Ayla, but for some reason, that night, the child had not. Justin's sister Alicia would later claim that the reason why they had found so much of Ayla's blood throughout the house was because the little girl had been lactose intolerant and had been vomiting. But while vomiting can be experienced by people with lactose intolerance, it's extremely uncommon. Never mind throwing up blood. Now, police have refused to comment on the blood evidence that they found, other than confirming that it was Ayla's. But that, combined with the fact that they no longer believed that Ayla was alive, and the fact that they believed that the 3 adults who had been in the home that night were lying, you would think that that would be enough to arrest someone. But it wasn't. Investigators by this point had also discovered that just weeks prior to Ayla going missing, Justin had taken out a $25,000 life insurance policy on her. The odd thing was, Justin had another child who he did not open a life insurance policy on. And the man who'd sold him this policy was his lifelong friend, Derek Tudela, who'd also spoken to Justin on the phone the morning that Ayla had disappeared. And this was prior to Justin calling the police. Apparently, Justin had driven from Waterville to Portland that morning, and during the drive, he had spoken with Derek on the phone. In the weeks after Justin had taken Ayla from her aunt's home, he had texted Trista saying that he was afraid that someone would try to kidnap Ayla or snatch her. The last text in which he had talked like this, because there were multiple, was on December 11th, 6 days before she had been reported as missing. The text read, "I shouldn't have to be scared or live in fear in my own home. Thinking someone can come in at any time and take Ayla." So was little Ayla already dead at that point? And Justin was just trying to set up some sort of evidence to support his claim that she had just disappeared from the house in the middle of the night? Now, the mother continued to try to push law enforcement to press charges against Justin for child abuse or neglect, since at this point they did not have enough evidence to charge him with murder. But they told her to wait because they rather charged Justin and or his family members with murder when the time came. That, however, never happened. In 2013, Trista, who had been at the courthouse to try to push things along legally, ran into Justin. He was there for a completely different reason this time. He was apparently there because he had a hearing for a domestic violence charge against his girlfriend Courtney. He was charged for pushing and grabbing her. During this courthouse confrontation, Justin's mother Phoebe would end up accusing Trista of hiding Ayla.
Justin! Where is she? Justin! No, talk to me for a minute. Justin! I can see it in your eyes. And you know that's the problem. You look at me and you're gonna... I know you care.
Just say something, man.
Please, Justin.
carry all that weight on your
Sleep at
shoulders.
night. She looks just
That's your
like
own
you,
blood,
Justin.
dog.
She looks just like you.
No remorse. Blood
You
and
had to do
boom,
this
no
to her?
remorse, man. No remorse for your own kid.
Justin, stop. Justin, we share a dog together. You remember this? Justin! What'd you do with her? What did you Hi, my daughter's Ayla. You know, your granddaughter.
Why don't you tell us what you did with her,
Why
Trista?
don't you tell me? No, you know what, Phoebe?
Do not grab
no,
me.
tell me. No, you know, Phoebe, you tell
Do
me
not
what you did
touch
with
me,
my
Trista.
daughter. Tell me what you did with my daughter.
Tell us what you did with her.
Really? Because she was in your house
Wait a
with
minute,
blood.
wait a minute. What
Where is she, Phoebe?
Where?
You don't even have. Let me go,
stop,
Brian.
no, stop,
Let me
stop.
go. You don't even have the decency to look me in my face, Phoebe, and tell me what happened to my daughter. I know you tell us what you did. You're a fucking murderer. You're something to my daughter.
And your son killed my granddaughter, and you have the gall,
Phoebe,
the
you
decency.
can't even look
Hold on.
me. No, Dad,
you
stop.
have the gall and the decency.
Phoebe, you can't
to
even
get on
look me in
TV
the eyes
and
as
come
a
up with
mom.
Justin, he's a murderer. He killed my granddaughter. All the evidence is right there in that house. With all the evidence that my daughter has come out and said, and probably more that the state police has, honestly, are we not supposed to feel like this? Are we not supposed to hurt every day?
In 2017, after a 5-year minimum waiting period, Trista went in front of a judge and would have Ayla legally declared as dead. Now, by this time, her father, Justin, had moved from Maine all the way to Los Angeles, California. But once Trista was able to have her daughter declared as dead, she was now able to file a wrongful death lawsuit against Justin. And she would later end up expanding this lawsuit to include his mother, Phoebe, and his sister, Alicia.
So today marks 7 years since Ayla was taken from me. For 7 years, I've asked myself, who would want to hurt such an innocent little girl that was filled with so much spunk? I wonder if this is haunting you, Justin. I wonder if our daughter haunts your dreams, or if you see her blue eyes when you close your eyes at night. I wonder if you even think about that night you murdered her. I'll live inside a courtroom till the day I get my justice for her.
The suit stated that there was sufficient evidence to allege that Justin's mother and sister, individually or together with him, had the opportunity and means to participate in causing severe injury to Ayla that led to her death, and that all three participated in an unsuccessful attempt to clean up and conceal bloodstains found in multiple locations before authorities arrived at the house. A settlement for this lawsuit ended up being reached in April of 2024, but the amount of the settlement remains confidential, and all parties agreed to the dismissal of the wrongful death suit as a result. Trista Reynolds has said that she will not find peace until she knows exactly what happened to her daughter Ayla. Well, thank you for listening to Ayla's story today. I think it's pretty clear that by the amount of blood that was found inside the home and the sketchy behavior exhibited by the DiPietro family, especially Justin, that they know exactly what happened to that little girl. Justin was clearly not a good dad. Ayla was scared of him, and she kept getting hurt in his care. I really can't believe that police have never found enough evidence in order to charge Justin or his family members with anything in regards to Ayla's disappearance and likely death. It's incredibly disappointing. What do you think? So if you like true crime and you want to hear it from me, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. And turn on your notifications too, so you'll know when I upload a new video, which is at least 3 times every single week. Thanks for watching A Wicked World today. Until next time, take care, guys. Bye. Thank you to all the patrons of A Wicked World. Now, there's even more of A Wicked World on Patreon. So check it out at patreon.com/awickedworld or use the Patreon app. You'll have access to exclusive videos each month and more. Any support truly helps to make sure the victims never get forgotten and to highlight the shortcomings of society associated with each case. Do you have a suggestion for a case you'd like to see me cover? If so, send me an email at awickedworldtruecrime@gmail.com.